At just 17, Maya's world flipped upside down. Pregnant, abandoned by her boyfriend, and pressured to give up her dreams, she faced judgment from nearly everyone around her. Friends vanished, teachers gave up on her, and even her own family started to doubt her. But what no one expected was that this so-called mistake would become the fire that pushed her to rise. Because a few years later, Maya walked into a courtroom, not as a defendant, but as an attorney. Maya had always been a planner. She knew exactly what she wanted: graduate with honors, study law, and eventually open her own legal practice. She was disciplined, smart, and determined, but life has a way of disregarding even the best-laid plans. At 17, she found herself staring at a positive pregnancy test. Her hands trembled, her heart raced. In that moment, everything shifted. When she told her boyfriend, his reaction was cold. He panicked, denied responsibility, and disappeared from her life within days. What followed was a cascade of judgment and isolation. Her parents were crushed, disappointed, and emotionally distant. Friends she'd known since childhood pulled away without a word. Teachers who once praised her potential began treating her like a lost cause. She was forced to drop out of school in her final year, not because she wanted to, but because the pregnancy left her too ill to keep up. Bills started piling up. Maya began working at a local grocery store just to afford baby supplies. The girl who once dreamed of courtrooms now struggled just to make it through the day. It was during one of those endless nights, sitting alone in a dimly lit room with her newborn daughter in her arms, that everything came into focus. The baby had been crying for hours. Maya was exhausted, overwhelmed, and unsure if she was even cut out for motherhood, let alone anything beyond it. She felt like the walls were closing in. As she rocked her daughter back to sleep, she noticed a crumpled college brochure on the table. It was the one she'd kept hidden away. Something from a life that felt like it belonged to someone else. For reasons she couldn't explain, she picked it up and began reading. Page after page, she remembered why she had once dreamed of becoming a lawyer. Not just for the title or the prestige, but to help people like herself. In that quiet moment, something changed. She realized that while her life had taken a detour, it didn't have to end there. Her daughter wasn't her downfall. She was her reason. And from that point forward, Maya vowed she would find a way back to her dream. From that moment on, Maya's life became a balancing act, one that demanded every ounce of strength she had. She re-enrolled in her high school's online program and earned her diploma late, but with pride. With her baby strapped to her chest, she studied during nap times and completed assignments at the kitchen table. She applied to local colleges, knowing childcare would be an issue, but determined to find a solution. Rejection letters came first, with reasons ranging from limited space to unconventional academic timeline, but she didn't stop. She reached out to former teachers, some of whom had doubted her, and found one who helped her secure a referral. Eventually, she was accepted into a community college pre-law program. She took evening classes while working part-time during the day. Every day was a grind. Waking up at 5 a.m., packing lunches, taking buses, attending lectures, and putting her daughter to bed before pulling all-nighters to study. There were tears, missed deadlines, and moments she wanted to quit. But she didn't. Because every challenge she faced was a step closer to becoming who she was meant to be. Maya's determination eventually began to bear fruit. After 2 years of balancing work, parenting, and her studies, she graduated from community college with top marks. She had built a small but fierce support system, other single moms, mentors, and professors who believed in her. One of those professors encouraged her to apply to law school, even though Maya hesitated. She feared she wouldn't be taken seriously, or worse, be seen only as the girl with baggage. Still, she applied to 5 programs and, to her astonishment, got accepted into one of the most reputable schools in her state. Law school, however, was an entirely new battlefield. The pace was brutal, the competition fierce, and the expectations suffocating. Classmates whispered behind her back. One professor told her she should consider a different field, something less demanding for someone in your situation. But Maya used every insult, every dismissal as fuel. She studied harder, worked smarter, and leaned into the very thing that made her different: her resilience. By her final year, she wasn't just passing, she was excelling. And the dream that once felt impossible was now within reach. Graduating law school and passing the bar was more than just an academic achievement. It was a declaration. Maya chose not to pursue corporate law or high-paying firms. Instead, she opened her own practice, focusing on family law, domestic violence, and advocacy for single mothers. Her office was small, but her mission was mighty. Clients came to her feeling hopeless, but left feeling heard. Maya didn't just represent them, she related to them. She understood what it meant to be dismissed, to feel like your life was over before it even began. She began volunteering at shelters and community centers, offering free legal clinics for women in crisis. Her story caught attention. Local news, podcasts, and social media platforms began sharing her journey. But Maya didn't care about fame. She cared about impact. She started a scholarship fund to help young mothers return to school. She mentored women who had been told their lives were over. Through every case she fought, every life she touched, Maya rewrote the narrative, proving that being a young mom didn't mean the end. It could be the beginning of something extraordinary. With every courtroom she walked into and every story she heard from clients, Maya came to understand something deeply personal. Her journey wasn't a weakness, it was her superpower. The struggles, the judgment, the sleepless nights, they had shaped her into someone who could speak with authority and compassion. While others masked their past, Maya owned hers. She began speaking at schools and universities, telling students that failure, detours, and mistakes don't disqualify you from greatness, they prepare you for it. She reminded people that the world will always be quick to write your ending, especially if you're young, poor, or different. But it's your job to take the pen back. Maya's story wasn't polished. It was raw, it was messy, but it was real, and it resonated. She inspired a movement, not because she rose quickly, but because she rose slowly, painfully, and on her own terms. And with every young mother she mentored, every doubter she proved wrong, she made one thing clear: strength isn't about perfection. It's about persistence. Maya's story is a powerful reminder that setbacks don't define us. Our response to them does. She was written off before she even had a chance to begin, labeled, judged, and underestimated. But instead of letting that narrative consume her, she chose to rewrite it. What began as a pregnancy that others viewed as a life-ending mistake became the very reason she fought harder than ever. Maya didn't just beat the odds, she changed them for herself, for her daughter, and for countless women who saw their future in hers. Today, she stands not just as a successful attorney, but as a symbol of what's possible when resilience meets purpose. And she continues to remind us all, your past may shape you, but it never has to define you. Because sometimes the most powerful victories are born from the very moments when the world expects you to fail.